It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, this show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Superfan Jim.
And this week we're looking at another summer of popcorn buckets. The Battle of the Buckets, as our thumbnail would say. Pretty excited about that. Fantastic Four tickets are on sale right now. If you haven't got them, you might want to stretch on over and get them. No? Nothing? Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. As I know, Superfan Jim is excited that Superman, the movie for 2025, is 100% locked in for release and more. Everyone may notice we have Superfan Jim as a guest host this week. Thank you, Jim, for stepping in.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Filling in for Mike. Mike's a little under the weather. Wasn't pre-planned. Hopefully, he's taking a lot of days off this year. I'm gonna have to cut his PTO off, if you know what I mean. Cash in those days.
Exactly.
Because we'll probably have our summer vacation coming up here, maybe at the end of the month or so, maybe July. So we'll have actually have a week off for everybody. But Jim, thank you for me interrupting your day, your nap, by asking you to come on here, and you graciously being like, yeah, let me wake up and get together and hop on here. So I do appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we don't have to, people know you. I know you were going to jump into this. We got a lot of gaming news. I don't know if people know this, but the Summer Game Fest was this week, which coincidentally corresponded with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2 that came out on Thursday. And Jim, you were lucky enough to pre-order one when they came out, when the pre-orders were like a month or two ago. And
Yep.
I actually, my wife, God bless her, waited outside a GameStop in the middle of the day. She's a teacher, as you know, had the day off. So she went over there, got in line. She was 10th in line. We were able to secure a ticket for Switch 2, came back at midnight, picked it up, and feel pretty lucky about that. I've heard people can still walk into stores and buy them, that not that people aren't buying them, but they had so much store stock that they're not like, it's not like, oh my God, FOMO right now. Like you can go in and buy them. Is that your experience as well?
Well, actually, I pre-ordered mine, so I haven't had to go in and look anywhere.
Uh-huh.
But I am in a Switch 2 group on Reddit, and they've all been talking about how, even this morning they were talking about how they could walk into GameStop and get one.
Yeah. There were about 60 people or more in line based on the numbers they were reading out when we came back at midnight for our Switch. And I assumed, I'm from the era where they maybe have got 10 extra consoles, right? So if you were like under 10 or under, you would you get one, but over 10 you'd be like, well, we might be able to get one, we don't know. So the fact that they had 60 at a little GameStop in a strip mall outside my house, I felt pretty lucky. So that was pretty neat. But the only game we got, and the only other game I've got to play, has been or Mario Kart World, which we got the bundle. I'm not sure if you got the bundle for that as well or picked up the game.
I was going to ask if you did or not. So I'm cheap and I did not.
Okay. And that's fine. Actually, I kind of regret doing it because you get a digital version of the game and not the actual cart for the game. And I wish I actually had the game cart.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I ended up getting Cyberpunk.
Okay.
And the main reason for that was kind of like with The Witcher 3 projects. Was it Project CD Red?
Yeah.
They make it where you can cross-save across consoles.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to start the game over on Switch from what I was playing on PS5, but now I can play that game on the go.
Yeah. And I think that's interesting. Someone said, "Oh, hey, there's not a lot of games for the Switch 2." It came out. I'm like, well, there's not a lot of first-party games for the Switch 2, like unique to it when it came out, and that's fine. That's how every video game console worked, right? Like I remember, my Xbox Series X. I think Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out when it came out, and It was on both consoles. Mario Kart's been fun. I'll tell you that right now. My wife has beat it. She's still playing it. The open world concept where you have like, can drive around, get hidden coins, do super tricks, get new costumes is awesome. But the other game I played is similar to like your experiences was Fortnite. Because obviously, there's a Switch 2 version of Fortnite, which takes place with the better hardware. But I will tell you, I cannot play shooter games on a Switch 1 or a Switch 2 to save my life. It is not my strong suit overall.
See, I am of an age that shooter games are pretty much out of the question for me if I want to retain a very healthy heart rate.
Well,
otherwise, I will rage quit faster than anything because it's one of those that like I can unload a clip into a dude's face and he'll shoot me twice and I'm dead.
Yeah. Well, the sad part of that is the new Fortnite season that came out last night around 8 p.m. and today it features Superman. So I'm like,
I saw the ads for that. Yeah.
I was like, this is gonna be something. But for free game and by the battle pass isn't too bad for that. But yeah, Superman's there and it's a superhero kind of season, which is cool. But like, I it's fine. Like I think you have an Xbox and a PlayStation as well, or just a PlayStation.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got both. I've got both of those. I'm gonna go play those games on that. Like I know you mentioned Cyberpunk. I have Cyberpunk on Xbox. I go play it on that before I play it on Switch.
Right.
Because I think a Switch 2 is like equivalent of like an Xbox One, in terms of like graphics and power. No offense, I got one. I think the gameplay is more important than the graphics, but.
Right. Well, I will say in handheld mode that Cyberpunk looks really, really good.
Yeah. Good.
But again, the whole reason I even got it wasn't so I could experience it. It was more so I can continue the story when I'm not able to be home.
Yeah. And then the other, I said some of the other games, like I play Pokemon games and Scarlet and Violet, the last two main series, had an upgrade for the Switch 2. So I can actually play it at 60 frames per second. It loads a lot better. The other one, it was struggling on that hardware. I will admit it wasn't the best thing, but like, I'm not playing a Pokemon game because I'm like, oh man, this looks like so realistic. So I'm excited to experience that. And a couple other games got what's called Share Play, or Game Share. Are you familiar with Game Share feature yet? Where
I saw it was on there, but I honestly don't really know what it is.
So an example in this situation would be like a Mario 3D Land, Bowser's Fury game that came out. For the Switch. If you have it on the Switch 2, you can actually have this one Switch 2 be the main game and another Switch or Switch 2, even original Switch, be a second player on that game locally without having to have the game installed. So it's like sharing a second screen and gameplay to another console, which I think there's some games that have it. I didn't look at the whole list, but it sounds pretty awesome to me.
That is cool.
Yeah. So, Nintendo Switch 2 is out. It's fine. I like it. I was actually just telling Jim before we got on here, I'm 3D printing a mouse holder for the Joy-Con, because you can use the Joy-Con as a mouse to aim with. Some of the game like Metroid that's coming out later, you can aim with the mouse and move with the joystick, so you can use a mixture of both. I believe, I don't know what else, but next month in July is Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm excited for. So I was hoping that the Game Fest this week would have some Nintendo announcements. It didn't really have a whole lot, but now that the Switch 2 is out, it has some better hardware, and I think could actually play some of the newer games coming out.
Right. Are you gonna bump any of your Switch 1 games up other than the Pokemon?
I don't think so. There's none on there that I have that I'm like, I gotta play in new ones. I don't have any Zelda games. I've never been a Zelda person. I don't think so. Not other than the free updates. I don't think so.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. I was talking with someone yesterday. I actually remember. It's been 6 years now, but Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 came out for Switch 1, only Switch.
Yes.
I'm like, man, that'd be great to have like a nice little Switch 2 upgrade. But after 6 years, I'd rather just have an Ultimate Alliance 4 to play.
Right.
But
and I still haven't got my hands on Ultimate Alliance 3. It's one of those that's never dropped in price.
Yeah, it's true. It is a fun game. I'll give it that. The only thing I'm gonna give one big complaint against the Switch two complaints against the Switch 2, Jim. If you'll bear with me real fast. Number one, name sucks.
Oh yeah.
I'm not in love with the Xbox Series name either. PlayStation, I will give them sticking for numbered systems for 30 years now. Can't fault them for that. But a Switch 2, I think they could have gone with a better name. But it is what it is. They found success in the Switch. They want to carry that success forward, rather than going backwards.
I don't remember if it was you or Mike or somebody, but I swear someone had suggested one time that they need to call it the Super Nintendo Switch, and I really wish they would have done that.
The Super Switch, that would be it. I also think they're trying to avoid the Wii and Wii U situation, because they tend to, I like the Wii U. A lot of the Wii U games actually went to Switch. Like that's how good it was. Like it was like a pre-Switch, if you will.
Okay.
So like Mario Kart 8, which has been out for 11 years before World, the only Mario Kart game, was on the Wii U first before it came to Switch. Same exact game. So we loved the Wii U in our house. It let my wife play on the handheld while I played Xbox and vice versa. So I can understand why they didn't do that. The other part I'm going to say is I really hate the fact they have not allowed like apps like Disney Plus or YouTube or Netflix to be on there, because if I'm plugging this into my TV and using one of those dedicated slots, I want the console to have the streaming apps on it, right? Or even if you're like handheld and I want to watch some, I want to watch Predator Killer of Killers off the Hulu app on my Switch 2.
Right.
I should be able to do that. So I'm really disappointed that Nintendo has not really opened that up over the last two console generations, because I remember the original Wii had the Netflix app on it, right? Like you could watch streaming stuff on the original Wii. So really, really disappointed they're locking that down, or at least not expanding that option on that. If you
I mean the thing's got a kickstand for a reason. You might as well be able to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it looks good on TV. It looks good when plugged in. So that's it. Now let's get into some other games. So this is we're going to start with news. The Game Fest is going on. Xboxes was today. One of the things that came out was this is targeted directly for you, Jim. Is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The first DLC has been announced called The Order of Giants. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is made by it's Microsoft Studios, I believe, or Bethesda, who's owned by Microsoft, and now it's on PlayStation and Xbox now. So this DLC coming out September 4th is just essentially very much the Last Crusade-esque looking when I watched the trailer. Like, oh, you have to go into these buildings in Rome and like uncover something, then take it somewhere else, and then you have to fight the people guarding it. It's very, very Indiana Jones. This looked awesome. I don't know how you felt. Oh, that ding says Jim is disconnecting, so hopefully he'll be able to pop back in just a second. But we'll make him talk here. But like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is to me a first-person Indiana Jones game voiced by Troy Baker. It's just fantastic. It's beautiful. I love puzzles. Yeah, you're whipping and shooting a couple people here and there. It's kind of like, I would say, 90s Tomb Raider, where it's more focused on the puzzles rather than the fighting, and that's important. Like, yes, action is great, but like Indiana Jones, he's an archaeologist. He's a puzzle dude. He wants to kind of get through this. So to me, that's the important part. I'm gonna message Jim because we're live right now, and see what he's saying. I'm still talking if you join, Jim, if you're listening to us live. But Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, you can check out the link in our show notes for the first DLC called The Order of Giants. And it looks kind of be Knights Templar from the imagery as well. So if anybody, big fan of obviously other Indiana Jones stuff, Knights Templar stuff, it's going to be a fucking... And I think Jim is back. I think that sound means Jim is back with us here. And Jim,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So I'm still talking. We're still live. We're still going. Did you see the Indiana Jones trailer yet? For the Order of Giants.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, and you're an you're a Harrison Ford fan, so obviously Indiana Jones by connection. What did you think of it?
Oh, okay. So I don't want to criticize it because trust me, I do think it looks really, really good. It's just we've kind of already explored some of the Vatican and everything, so I don't know if we need to go back there. But other than that, no, it's really good, and I'm Indiana Jones fan enough that I have most of the novel series that came out in the late '80s and early '90s, and the second book in that series is actually called The Dance of the Giants.
Oh, okay.
So he's got a history of dealing with this particular subject already. So in that regard, I don't know. I doubt they adapt any of it, but it's kind of cool that there's a parallel between some existing lore and what they're going forward with in Great Circle.
So the thing I really enjoy about the Indiana Jones series, the video game titles are actually, really, really fun. Like obviously, the Golden Circle or the Great Circle, the Order of Giants. Older ones include the Fate of Atlantis and the Emperor's Tomb. In the Lost Kingdom. Like I really enjoy the titles. Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine is another one. So I love the titles of all the Indiana Jones games they've come out with.
Oh yeah.
So
and I've been playing them since Atlantis, so I've enjoyed every one.
Yeah. Infernal Machine was on 64. I just watched a video on the 64 the other day, so pretty fun. September 4th, 2025 for that DLC on all consoles and PC right now. So good for it.
Yeah. What's funny is I was going to transition into that by saying before my mic decided to quit, that I was actually thinking of pulling my Xbox to put in my Switch 2 on my TV because, like you were saying, you only have so many ports.
Yeah.
And after seeing this trailer, I'm like, I might wait on that one just yet.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these games, I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana Jones comes to Switch. Microsoft has been really generous with their properties lately on other consoles, like Indiana Jones, a Bethesda company, going to PS5. This DLC will be out for PS5 day and date as well. With that, and also as a fun joke, my mic quit as well today too. He's not on the show, as you can tell. That's why you're here. So we're both having mic problems.
Exactly.
He's not going to listen to the show, so I can say that, and he won't know it. If anyone who knows him is listening wants to message him and say, "Hey, Chris is dissing you on the show today," feel free. The time code will be about 17 minutes and 40 seconds, so he can check that out. Moving on. For people, I think you're a fan of Invincible, right? The show on Amazon.
For sure.
I know a lot of people are. Invincible is more popular now than it ever was when the comic books were active, which is awesome. The Amazon show's coming. I know they're working on a live action, or at least a movie, might not be live action, but now we have Invincible Versus, a 3v3 tag fighting game featuring characters in the Invincible Universe. It looks like 3 of the Viltrumites, including I can't think of his dad's name off the top of my head. Omni-Man. And then we got Invincible, Adam Eve, and was that Rexplode with him as well, I believe?
Yes.
Yep. So far they've only shown 6 people. 3 kind of generic Viltrumites and 3 characters from it. But, I 100% expect this to be a very full rostered game based on the Invincible series, right? Lots of characters, lots of powers. Seems to be pretty brutal, very akin to like Mortal Kombat, if you will, in terms of like violence, like or damage to the characters. Even looks like maybe some fatalities involved as well. And one of the things I noticed when watching this trailer, it seems to retain the voice actors from the Amazon series. I can't confirm that. Yeah, they may use sound-alikes, but pretty close. What do you think of it?
Yeah, actually, the way the preview started reminded me kind of the subway scene from season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, they're going here with it already. Okay. And then I was totally bought in after that.
Yeah.
I noticed that the moon is one of the stages for it. So I'm hoping that like Alan the alien shows up. Kind of like you were saying, they got to wrap up the roster a little bit. But especially if they got him with Seth Rogen's voice and everything. Yeah. I guess the best thing I could say, like I grew up, I cut my teeth on Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat in the Super Nintendo and Genesis days. And we've got like Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6 and all that out right now, but it seems like they've overcomplicated everything so much that it's you almost need like a doctorate in video games to be able to play character anymore.
Mhm.
But this makes me think more of like the Marvel versus Capcom. Like it has that tag team feel to it. And if they can keep the control scheme fairly simple, I would definitely be like jumping in on this.
I think I'm a big. I mean, I would say Mortal Kombat probably is more up your alley. I don't think it's that overcomplicated, but I'm not a Street Fighter fan. Tekken, I like Tekken. We've not had Soul Calibur in a minute. You know, we these tag fighting games are really popular. Like you mentioned, Marvel v Capcom. Stuff like that. Well, Tekken even had tag team, but this is interesting because to me, like, there's gonna be so many characters, and the characters all have different powers, right? So you can actually, if you find a trio of characters that work in your favor based on their abilities, I think that'll be really cool. Other than Omni-Man and the Viltrumite lady with the knife in her hair, I didn't see what the other one did. He just kind of was there, but like I can always be like, oh, Invincible's blue, Adam Eve is pink, Rexplode is orange. I know who these guys are and what they're doing on here, so I'm excited for this. This looks really fun. It's we're gonna be getting a lot of fighting games because I don't want to take away from this, but the next one was released earlier in the week and is even more wild to me, and that's Marvel Tokon. I'm probably pronouncing this right. Fighting Souls, which is a 4v4 tag fighting game. From the makers of Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Blazblue, and the Guilty Gear series. So it's the Arc System Works who have made these really like hyper fast fighting games that were based on Street Fighter 2 and so on and so forth. But 4v4, like 1v1 is fine, 2v2 is fine, 3v3 getting a little concerned, but 4v4 just blows my mind, Jim, on this. Like literally can't fathom it. But the trailer, like they just went all in. I think it's like, this is a pretty long trailer, right? It's like a couple minutes long. I'll pull it up here. Yeah, 2.5 minutes, and they've got some I think it's Japanese voice actors. The art style looks awesome. The backgrounds are all there. They've really, I wouldn't say it's not anime-fied or manga-fied the characters, but like Iron Man looks like a Gundam in this, right?
Yes.
Star-Lord is a little interesting in there. I'm trying to look around here, but like in the backgrounds, like there's some of the backgrounds like, oh, the first heroes. It shows the original Iron Man outfit and Captain America and Thor. So I'm excited for this game. What did you think when you saw it?
Oh yeah, the first thing that got me, and you kind of touched on it, is the art direction. The very first thing I thought was, man, I would love a show that looked like this.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that kind of got me at the beginning was,
I'm going to say they have one. There was a Marvel anime series in Japan that was, I don't think it was westernized or translated, but there is one. You just have to read the subtitles for it.
oh,
But anyway, sorry.
look that up.
Yeah, I'll send that to you later. But yeah, they do have some anime series that were released here, but then also some that weren't released here. But yeah, I can get you that later. But continue with that with your thoughts on the game.
Oh, and so then the intro of it was kind of going across. I think it was like Iron Man's armor or something. And so at first I thought, oh, they're going to have everybody in armor to kind of give them, equal footing against other powerful people. But then it ended up not being that whatsoever. So I was kind of thankful for that. Yeah, man, that looked crazy. Like in a good way. I thought I was going to have a seizure watching some of this.
Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, if you look at the backgrounds, like the first level, it's got like the Janet Van Dyne store, which we know her as the Wasp, and the background's Oscorp, Roxxon. Like they're really pulling a lot of Marvel stuff here. But what they said, they were like, hey, this game, the makers were like, we want to put in characters who are not normally in Marvel fighting games. And the first three, I'm gonna be like, yeah, these are kind of there, like Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man. Those are staples for fighting games, right? Marvel games,
right?
But we get a very extended look at Doctor Doom in this. We get Storm. We get Miss Marvel, who I don't think has ever been in a fighting game yet. Star-Lord and Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, the one who drives the car and has the fire mohawk. These are some really, for the first 8 characters, this showed me, hey, we might actually have some interesting team-ups in this game when it comes out next year along the way.
Yeah, and I mean, Doom and Ghost Rider, you got some big hitters too, just right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. The animation style is great. The background's great. I recommend it. The only problem, it gives me anxiety watching this because I can't play Street Fighter style games. Like this is way too fast for me to be doing this
Yeah,
stuff. But I
that's kind of where the seizure comment came from. It was like, it looks really nice, but I don't know if I could handle it in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, later on we get to see essentially what looks like, Hell's Kitchen with Fogwell's gym, which we know, from Daredevil, Nelson and Murdoch stuff. I think Daredevil's in one of the windows. I don't think we're gonna get him yet, but like they are really making this fun. The art style's good. I'm excited to see other characters kind of be translated into this. And I'm not gonna say it's a by day one for me, but it's really cool to see Marvel picking unique studios to make their games along the way, right?
Right.
Leaning into Arc System Works and not just Capcom for that. So you can check out that trailer or show notes. But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of Marvel games, would you have rather had this or the canceled Black Panther game?
Oh man, I would rather have the Black Panther game if I'm going to be completely honest with you. EA also stated they're still making 3 Marvel games outside of the Black Panther one. We know there's an Iron Man one coming. I believe they had, I forget what the other one of them is, but then one's an unknown one yet. But I would much rather have that. Again, fighting games are cool. We've been treated to Marvel versus Capcom, Marvel Heroes fighter games. Right now we're in the what is it, Marvel Rivals era, right, of games.
Yep.
We've got a lot of good multiplayer fighter style games. Single player storylines I think are awesome. Spider-Man has been great on the PlayStation, but we need more of those, more story driven games that have a really good gameplay hook, I feel, rather than fighting games. Now that's not to say fighting games are bad and you shouldn't have them and oh my gosh, do this, but like, this isn't for me. I'd rather have a story game. What about you?
Right. I'm kind of the same way. Anymore, my time is limited enough that I guess what I'm looking for in video games is a story.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, while you were talking, it made me think that, like, the Mortal Kombat games have like I guess you'd say a single player or a story mode now.
Yep.
So maybe Invincible or even this has something like that as well, where it's not just strictly, against your friends or the computer or online.
Dragon Ball Fighter Z kind of had one as well, which is the maker of this. It's a very fast paced game, very combo driven. I would never play online, never play online on this. So it'd be only at home. But Fighter Z is a 3-player tag fighter game, so they could absolutely do that. With this, where you have one character and the other ones are around it, or like these are the ones you have available. But with anything, I'm just interested in the full roster and the art style for the characters as they kind of release a little bit, and obviously the comic book tie-in, that they'll have when it comes out. Moving on, earlier in the week as well, we got a teaser, or first trailer and announcement of a Deadpool VR game, Jim. Things I didn't think I needed combined together. I've never thought of at the same time. Deadpool and VR. But boy, does this line up pretty good. We've got a full trailer here. It's for MetaQuest 3 headsets. I will say the biggest note here is that Deadpool is voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, giving his best Ryan Reynolds impersonation. When you read this, it feels very much. This is very much movie Deadpool. It's got some 80s music. He's driving, shooting people in a forest. At one point, his head is removed from his body, and you're watching the body slam somebody else into the ground. So you're going to rely on that regeneration factor. And some really weird art later on. It looks like to be like Omega Red was in this at some point. But I will tell you, I have. Give me your goods. Give me your goods first. I got one complaint. I want to hear your goods before we get into that.
Well, my thing with it, this is one of the single best game announcements I've ever seen, with Ryan Reynolds at the beginning and digging into the tropes of Doogie Howser and all of that. I thought that was really cool that they talked with or got him to be involved. And then, the gameplay looks like if VR didn't make me motion sick the second I put it on, I would probably be considering buying a MetaQuest just for this.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully this is more on rails and like less movement. Because I agree, I don't like the movements. It looks like there's like some parts where like he's on the car and you're like the car's just moving and you're kind of shooting around you. Those tend to be a little better for me, but I agree with you entirely on that.
There was that shooter on rails game for the PlayStation VR. I can't remember the name of it, but that one even got me sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my daughter can play those games all day, God bless her, but man, unless it's Beat Saber, I will throw up immediately.
I liked Super Hot. I wish this was more like a Super Hot. I don't know if you ever played that one or not.
Is that the one where you have to time everything to the music?
No. Super Hot's where if you time is frozen until you move, and the faster you move, the faster time speeds up. So
okay.
Like you're kind of dodging stuff and like kind of like bullet time, but like you got to combo everybody, like dodge their stuff. But if you freeze, everything stops, kind of thing.
Right.
It's super fun. This looks fun. I would probably see myself getting motion sick as well with this. My biggest complaint is Neil Patrick Harris sounds like he's reading off a cue card rather than actually putting any effort into this. If you go back, like the first time I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I went back and listened. I'm like, he's not really trying. And I hope maybe it's just like the trailer reading rather than the actual game reading. Like he's like, hey, we need to have this ready by Monday. Right. Can you do this over the weekend? Because it just doesn't sound like he's putting his heart into it. Because like we talked about Indiana Jones, Troy Baker sounds just like Harrison Ford through and through. So to hear someone just kind of like phoning it in a little bit was like, oh man, come on, you're Neil Patrick Harris. This is Deadpool. This is like the perfect combination we didn't think we ever needed along the way. So but anyway, Marvel VR always been a good thing. Deadpool is pretty solid. Pretty excited to dive into that. That is our video game section. For now, things that are relevant to the show. If anything else comes up, we'll be covering it next week. But I think it's been a pretty good week for video gamers this summer, if you will. Along the way. So let's jump into Spider-Man. Brand new day. The next movie coming out from after Fantastic Four. This is technically the next Marvel movie, releasing next July. And the rumors, scoopers have gone back on saying Sadie Sink is no longer Mayday Parker, but will possibly play an alternate universe Gwen Stacy. And I say alternate universe. They didn't use the word variant, just an alternate universe Gwen Stacy. Which is interesting because it's the second time they've cast someone with red hair third time they've cast someone with red hair to dye their hair blonde to play Gwen Stacy.
Right.
Bryce Dallas Howard, Emma Stone, and then now Sadie Sink. I can go either way with this. Do we need Gwen Stacy again? I thought, to me, it's fine if we have her, but the No Way Home really had a touching ending for Peter 2, or Peter 3, whoever, Andrew Garfield's to be able to save MJ and kind of have a good moment that way. Do we need Gwen Stacy again, or is this with the rise of Spider-Gwen and her popularity in the Spider-Verse, they're just trying to find a way to use her? What's your take on this?
So that was my original thought, was if they're going alternate Gwen Stacy, she's probably going to be, was that Silk Spider?
No, Silk's a different right? Silk's a different character, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Who might
Ghost Spider?
Ghost Spider. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I guess my question for that is, do we have enough of her in the Spider-Verse movies, or do we really need a live-action one?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But if they're strictly using her as to bring a new love interest in for Peter, okay, I'll see what they got.
Yeah. Well, I don't. The only thing I can think of that ties this to Mayday Parker is they're both younger girls. I mean, it should be 20 by the time this movie comes out or so, and that they both would have like Ghost Spider, Spider-Gwen, and Mayday Parker both have spider powers, and they're the same age as Peter-ish, right? So is that kind of where these rumors are coming from? Like, hey, we're using, we want Spider-Man to have a comparable, not villain, but a comparable like counterpart and that's fine. But if they make her Gwen Stacy and don't give her powers, maybe that's the better answer. I don't know.
Maybe.
There's a lot of questions about this movie. I don't know a lot.
The other thing I just thought of too is, are they going to try to do a pull one over on us where she says she's Mayday Parker, and at the end we find out she's actually Gwen Stacy?
I don't. That's too far, I guess, of a little stretch. Because like, how would she know she's Mayday Parker? Like a whole different thing. So I don't know. It's interesting. There's some opportunity here to play. I think she's a great actress. I think she's up and coming. I have no issues with that. I'd really love a little confirmation on the story, especially with everything moving next year, right? The all the Marvel properties that Marvel owns moving. So this is still Sony, so they got to say something if it's going to move or not. But I don't think it will. I think they'll try to get out there. I still keep seeing, the same thing we reported months ago, that it's going to be a Savage Hulk, or and Spider-Man fight or team up kind of along the way. So I'd be interested. I'm more interested in that than actually whether we have Mayday Parker or Gwen Stacy in the movie at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
More video games. No, this isn't video games, but there was a video game called Midnight Suns that came out a couple years ago. Really fun, card-based XCOM style game. But we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the movie. And some scoopers have been saying that development on the Midnight Suns movie is moving again. Meaning that they were trying to make some work of a year or two ago. Probably got caught up. How are we going to do Doomsday Secret Wars? Shuffled it off, and now it's back forward. Because they're probably thinking about we know what's next. Spider-Man, Doomsday, Secret Wars. We already know those three are next. So they're going to probably think, what's the next thing after those? We've heard X-Men for sure. Midnight Suns is a great opportunity because the movie lineup is rumored to include Wong, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Blade, Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing, which would be awesome. I would love to get into some Supernatural, a little bit of different step of the Marvel. Werewolf by Night was a great movie, or not movie. It's a little one-off, right? Like, we should back up on that side of the universe. Blade, they're having struggle getting started. Go ahead and introduce him in here. We all know who Blade is. We don't need a Blade origin story. We all know who Blade is. Get him into a movie. Get him some action. Get him a sword. Get it going. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, actually, this feels a lot like that Justice League Dark that Guillermo del Toro was trying to get off the ground. And I'm all for like a alternate look at that specific universe. So having, like you said, the supernatural side a little bit darker. Maybe it takes place more at night than other things.
Europe, put them in Europe.
Maybe more like
I think the home of all things vampires, Dracula, mystic. Everything's got a castle in Europe, and Marvel doesn't go to Europe very often, other than the cities. So put them out in the wilderness where the fun stuff's happening. Not just cities and. Hey, we're in New York, but nobody knows we're in New York, even though there's a big explosion and demons coming out of the ground.
Right. So, yeah, no, I would really like to see how these group of guys work together. Do they get along, or do they hate each other? That type of thing. Yeah,
and I think again the inclusion, the first person Wong being the guy who kind of brings them together, because he is essentially the Sorcerer Supreme. He is protecting the Earth from all things mystical, and I would put supernatural under the mystical element, right? So he's the one who's got to pull these ragtag team of monster hunters together to do it. I think it just has a lot of opportunity to do a team up. It's always movies tend to be a little better when there's more than one known superhero in it. I would say look at Thunderbolts being a great team up movie, right?
Yeah.
We go look at Captain America: Brave New World. Not that great. How many heroes did we have in there that we knew? Just one. Before that we had Deadpool and Wolverine. We know Deadpool and Wolverine. Great time together. I think there's opportunities, and the stories for them to play off each other is great. So
yeah, for sure. And like you said, I think that would be probably smarter to introduce Blade in that than it would be to give him his own movie. Like,
you can probably give
show
him
him
his own
here,
movie,
and then
but maybe it's, we see him here, we know what he does, and then like his movie, we've always heard rumors is set in like the 1920s, and with the success of Sinners lately, also by Ryan Coogler, who maybe Ryan Coogler does some Blade stuff, helpful with Blade, I don't know, in this world, like this universe, they can obviously set up mysticism, vampires in the early 1900s. Now, again, I would recommend Europe, not America, but it's shown to be successful. But maybe we get him in here and then see a flash, like his movie is like someone from his past 100 years ago has caught up to him, because obviously mystical things are hard to kill or live long time.
Right.
So,
and the other thing too is I mean, like the original movies of Blade and everything else, they all stuck with just vampires. I think if you could spread that out to be more of the supernatural, like I'd like to see him go up against a werewolf, or him go up against just something else, you know, like ghosts and things like that.
Yeah,
I think that could be cool.
Well, I think they were hunting. Werewolf he wasn't being hunted. They were hunting Man Thing, weren't they? In the maze. So like he might be maybe they're sent to. Very similar. I don't want it to be too close to Thunderbolts, but very similar. Like they're all sent to hunt someone. They find out that they're not the bad person the whole time. So
right.
Moon Knight is interesting. I'd love to see what they're going to follow up with that, knowing that it was a Chapek era kind of show. But we'll cross our fingers. Moving on to Thor 5, we've talked about this a couple times. It seems to be picking up some steam here. That is officially in development at Marvel Studios, per the Scoopers, yet again. So nothing official from Marvel. But that it will be a post-Secret Wars saga movie. So obviously we talked about Midnight Suns gaining some movement. If Thor 5's gaining some movement, it means they're looking forward, right? They're planning things now to be good later, so they're not crunched for time and fixing things in the end. Also, probably the biggest thing, Taika Waititi's not returning to Thor 5. He's never expressed an interest to return to Thor, and we know he's got a Star Wars project. They could probably find somebody else to fill that gap, if you will, for Thor 5.
Because the rumor is he's bringing the director of Extraction with him, right?
Yeah, he wants to. I wouldn't say that he is, but like, Chris Hemsworth, he's been playing ball with Marvel for years, right? 15 years now. If he's got that pull, his movies, tend to do all right number wise. So they can easily say, hey, I want to bring Sam Hargrave from the Extraction series with me. I don't think it'd be a problem. Okay. Also, like one of the Russo brothers wrote those movies, or at least the first one, so he's got some pull internally there. I don't know where Thor 5 would go, Jim. That's the concerning part. Where does Thor 5 go? I would imagine it maybe be his last one. If not, what is he doing now that he hasn't done? I think, to me, they set it up in the last one like the pantheon of gods fighting each other for the vacuum control. Like, hey, of course we have this god thing where all the gods hang out, but Thor was mad at them for not helping. They're mad at him for attacking him. I would love to see pantheon v pantheon of gods just going at it.
Yeah. I was going to say, kind of like how Loki ended, maybe this one ends with him finally taking the throne of Asgard and competently and confidently being their leader.
Yeah, I would love to, we know in terms of Asgard or Norse mythology that everything's reborn, right? In that if it's dead, it's reborn. I would love to see it end with like maybe the rebirth of everything. So we get a new Odin, a new Thor, a new Loki. Like the whole thing has kind of been reborn. Maybe they're younger, kid age, 20. Like how old was Chris Hemsworth when he started the role, right? Put like new actors in that. And like, oh, Asgard's back, all these powers are back. It would be really interesting to see them kind of kick off like, oh, you're Thor, we did X, Y, and Z, and he's like, no, I'm not. It's like he doesn't remember anything. He's got a whole new personality. It would be fun to take Thor back to the basics, I feel, and do that.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth can live the rest of his life as Donald Blake.
Yeah, exactly. They could, or Thunderstrike. Give him one of those other weird Thor characters from the 90s there. Was it like Eric Masterson or something like that as well? I believe. Yeah, either way. Thor 5, we don't know anything about it, but I 100% think it'll happen in the next by the end of 2030 we'll have Thor 5 if I can make it better.
Right.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Fantastic Four. This is where we get into some fun stuff. Number 1, tickets are on sale. I went and bought my tickets first thing on Tuesday morning when they popped on sale. I was refreshing. I was ready to go 9:00 on Tuesday, so I got my seats in the theater. Very excited to go watch this on the Thursday beforehand. I would not be surprised if they announce some early preview screenings like they did with Thunderbolts. I think Marvel has a lot of faith in this movie, and they want to get everybody hyped up. So keep your eyes out for those. But tickets are on sale now, and when tickets go on sale, guess what? We usually get our first look at concession vessels, aka popcorn buckets, and we have what I'm going to hold right now as the winner of 2025's Popcorn Bucket Award, and that is the preview of Herbie concession vessel, who includes a large popcorn, a large drink, and candy, and a place to put all three. He can hold your popcorn, drink, and candy all in one little robotic vessel here. He's cute. His arms look like they articulate. I can see the straw coming out of his head. Jim, this is an all-in-one, a 3-in-1 that I think will just blow me away. It's probably going to be like $80. It's probably going to be expensive as hell. But this is the guy. My wife saw it and she's like, "I want to get that guy. I want that thing." So awesome. Everyone's kind of on board with this. Take a look. You didn't see him earlier, actually, did you? This is the first time you're seeing him today.
No. I'm looking at him right now, and I did not realize that he was going to hold all three of those items at the same time.
Yeah. Now, does that make it sound that much cooler?
Yeah, and the design on them is really good. Yeah, I'm actually kind of blown away by this. This is I might have to get one, even though we don't have an AMC around Des Moines.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're probably gonna. I mean, they're gonna sell them out. They'll probably sell them online, but like this is gonna be the one I want to get. However, he is not alone from AMC. The other AMC popcorn bucket is one that came with a video. I don't even have the video to show you, but I wanted everyone to see this. I sent right to the page because there are actual product photos of this dude in here, and that is known as the biggest popcorn bucket ever, and it is in fact a head mold of Galactus, and you fill his big old helmet with popcorn. This thing is 17 inches wide by 20 inches tall, Jim. To give you a scope of how large this huge bucket is. We don't normally like head molds here, but I'm going to have to give it points for credit. I'm going to have to give it points for detail in the purple on his helmet. It's like very metallic looking, like an embossed metal. And also the eyes light up. It goes from like dull black eyes to the blue Galactus eyes. This is a shelf piece if I've ever seen one. I don't know if anyone outside of comic books would know who the hell this is or what it is, but boy, this would be fun to show off.
This thing's going to need its own seat in the theater.
Well, exactly. I would hate to turn the lights on. Like, it's scary how large this dude is. I mean, at all. But like this guy, I think I heard was in fact $80 to order.
Yep, the price tag's right here. Yep.
Oh, at the top, yeah, $79.95. So it is huge. They're going all in on this. Nothing unique, but when they say they're going for big, they are absolutely going for big here. Would you get either of these? Which one would you think you'd get?
Man, oh, I gotta say, if it was between the two and they're both $80, let's say that. I'd probably get Herbie just because of the multiple compartments and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I really super enjoy these. I'm excited to get them. We have an AMC near, well, not near us, but it is the IMAX near. So hopefully they get some in and we can get them, because I'm not paying shipping for these huge ass popcorn buckets.
Right.
That's for sure. The last bit of fantastic.
Man,
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that I was not prepared to be that impressed with that Galactus. That is really good.
If anyone doesn't believe us, go watch the announcement video they made for this bucket as well. It's pretty funny. Lastly, the last bit of news for Fantastic Four is Doctor Doom is not in the movie according to the director. So it doesn't sound like, obviously they already had most of Fantastic Four. Well, they were filming it the next day after San Diego Comic-Con last year. Robert Downey Jr. was announced there. I don't think they had a plan for him to be in there as Doctor Doom. So this doesn't surprise me at all. It sounds like it's going to be a unique movie that does not relate to Doctor Doom for them.
Right, which I think is a good thing because every other iteration of the movies has had Doctor Doom in it. So give them a time to breathe as characters and then bring Doom in later.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it'll be relevant. Like, I wouldn't want to pigeonhole a Doctor Doom into this universe and then try to explain why he's in other ones later. Because this universe is very much a 1960s retro futuristic looking, very unique style. I don't think they'd be able to kind of do that properly. So that's what I would do if I had a plan with that. Moving on to Superman, Jim. This is where you're going to shine for me. This is for you here, and
Yes.
Superman. I'm going to guess tickets go on sale next week, June 12th. What do you think?
I mean that part's about right.
Maybe the 10th. Maybe the Tuesday. I'm sorry. Let's do the 10th. Let's back that up a little bit. I think the 12th might have been that Amazon preview day, right? That we talked about. Get the Amazon early preview tickets. A couple weeks ago.
I wonder if they're going to do like a ticket announcement trailer, but I'm to the point where if they do, I'm not going to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, the more I've kind of listened to Mike talk about his going in blind theory and everything, at first I thought he was kind of, I'm not going to say crazy, but just a little too militant on that.
Uh-huh.
As I've gotten older, I'm agreeing with him a lot more.
Yeah.
I want the movie to surprise me.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, for as much as I want to see Superman, I'm gonna have to like pull it back and after this last trailer that came out, I'm gonna try to put it on radio silence until it comes out.
Oh yeah, I mean we're a month out and they haven't sold tickets yet, which is interesting because Fantastic Four is later and they started selling tickets for it. So I wonder what they were working on, and we kind of talked about at the top of the show. James Gunn said as of Friday the film was 100% complete, locked in, sent over. So they were probably waiting on the lock-in to be done before selling tickets. I think the rating's going to be PG-13. I think we will get a new trailer. I think it'll be a final trailer with the tickets, but I don't think after that it'll be TV spots you have to watch out for, right, for the rest of the summer.
Right.
But you have a smaller window. It's only a month. Not too bad. I'm probably going to watch the next trailer simply because I think on the other side, remembering Guardians of the Galaxy trailers, none of those gave away the movie. And I think, I like to think James Gunn would have, being the president of the company as well, not just the director of the movie, has the say in all of that stuff. So I feel he would want people to be surprised going into his movie. More than just a regular studio with a regular director who probably doesn't get a say in those edits. Knowing he does, I would say we're probably going to be getting some stuff. And he probably learned a lot from Marvel, like how not to put things in the trailer, to cut things out, or, use CG to hide things, if you will. So,
right.
A lot of opportunity with that. 2 hours and 9 minutes with post-credit scenes. Seems like a fair length of a movie. I've got no complaints there. Now, my only complaint is going to go into the popcorn buckets, Jim. And you know this because we talked about it before the show. There is one. We have 3 popcorn buckets for Superman in the show notes that they've revealed. One is for at least America. The other 2 are for, I believe, Canada and England. But the first one is a LED popcorn container, which is the Superman yellow shield and just kind of like extruded, like a 3D kind of pullback on a blue base. It lights up as an LED. I've got one of these. It's a Captain Marvel one. It's one of my least favorite popcorn buckets. Just simply because it is a fun little display piece, but it's not unique enough. Like, I don't know if I would much rather buy a desk lamp or something like made for sitting on a table than a popcorn bucket itself. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It does. Yeah.
But so of the Superman popcorn buckets, we're about to say this is my weakest one. I did give it points though, and I told Jim this. It is yellow, clear plastic yellow interior. So if you happen to have a lot of butter on your popcorn, you're not going to notice it on the plastic because it's already yellow. So that's a plus. Jim, what do you think of this one? I think you lean the other way.
I actually like this one. To me, Superman sells itself based off the emblem. I mean, that's just my personal belief. The amount of Superman shirts that I own is disgusting, and they're all just the S in different shapes and forms. So I really like this. I think it would look good on a shelf, like you were saying, even with or without said popcorn grease smears. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it lights up and everything. Yeah, I just think it's kind of a neat little touch. It's simple. It does the trick. It's elegant. And I think the simplicity in its form is what sells me. Is it?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you first. You first.
Oh, I was just gonna say, does it feel like a cheat? Maybe, especially compared to like the Bat Signal one from last summer with Batman. But I don't know how you would do something like that for Superman because he doesn't quite have an equivalent.
I think it's. I don't think it's a cheat. I think it's low effort. I think it's low effort is how I would describe this. This is just like, hey, what's the bare minimum we can get by with using clear plastic, LEDs, and Superman, the logo one. Now, if it was the Fortress of Solitude, I would lean the other direction. I think it's got a unique design. It's set up for clear plastic because of the ice, and could easily be just a unique shape, right? That we've seen from some. So I think there's stuff to do. I would also say in this situation, maybe Mr. Terrific and like his T-spheres. The Justice Gang is there. We also have the Engineer, Ultraman, I think is his name. I think that's on the toys. The Hammer of Baravia, the character. Like, there's a bunch of characters in here that could easily be fun. Maybe it's the Daily Planet instead, Jim. Like the world opens up and so
the globe. Yeah.
I think there's just some other more detailed efforts. This just feels like very low effort, and nothing against it. If everybody wants it, you want it, go for it. I think that's great. Now the other two, we're going to talk. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, or you could just completely rip off Fantastic Four and make a, what are those, the robots in this Fortress of Solitude?
Oh yeah.
And have them be able to hold all three.
Yeah, it could.
Candy, your copy.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely tons of things in the Superman movie that we could lean into, right, with this that we've seen. We know it's a little that big sphere or that big glowing thing on all the trailers we've seen with the green thing around, like a Green Lantern bucket. Oh my God, Jim, that's it. The Green Lantern bucket's what we need. Like a see-through green,
like a lantern.
Yeah, well, I would say, like, you know how he creates like everything with the green see-through look to it, like what if that was it? Like, I don't know. There's opportunities, but anyway, let's get on to the next two because I don't want to bury it. So one of them, this is my favorite one, and the next one is a Superman using his heat vision inside through the glass into a popcorn machine. He's not really doing this. This isn't a popcorn machine bucket, but like what you put your popcorn in, it looks like he's cooking the popcorn in the old machine. This is a shelf piece to me, Jim. Like, this is the two combines two things for me. It's Superman and popcorn, and you know what he's doing with it. I really think this is a unique take on the square bucket in this situation. Yeah.
When you first described it, because I'll admit I hadn't seen it yet, but looking at it now, I didn't realize it was. I thought it was something that they were going to put like on their popcorn machines to help promote the movie.
Oh yeah.
Not be its own separate bucket.
Yeah.
So no, it looks really neat. I agree. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah. This one's my shelf piece of the two. I think it's really fun. I want to see it in action. I believe this one's the Canadian one a little bit. But that's okay. Maybe we get some imports on those. The next one, however, is a Daily Planet newspaper box. For those people who listen and don't remember what newspaper boxes are, this is how you used to have to get your newspapers. If you don't know what a newspaper is, it's a piece of paper that essentially looks like your home screen when you're on social media. The front of this folds down and the popcorn's in it. I think this is in the UK, where obviously newspaper boxes are probably still prominent compared to other, we don't have, a lot of city stuff around here to deal with that. But this is really cool. This harkens back to the Daily Planet as a newspaper. It's got that unique shape with the front lid that pops down and the stuff sits in it. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's even more below it, like an extra storage. How deep this is. But it's just a really fun throwback to something referenced inside of the movie, or at least something that the Daily Planet does in this regard.
And they get a nice, what do you call that, like modern emblem on the outside. It almost harkens back to like the 50s.
Yeah, the mid-century modern fonts, like, something Mad Men would do, like the Mad Men fonts of the era. It's the new Superman-esque, but everything else feels like it's right out of, I would even say, the original Superman movie, right? Like that old newspaper font and typeface. So really cool. It also would be fun because you can kind of see there's like a newspaper in the front there where you pull that screen down. If you could like input your own like stuff inside of it, like swap out the inserts, that'd be really interesting. Now we're thinking outside the box here. It's a little different, but this one's really fun. I don't know how big it is, but I would love to. I look forward to when people actually get it and we get to kind of compare it a little bit.
So it's big enough to, excuse me, get your hand through that square opening to get to the popcorn. So I'd say it's probably fairly sizable.
All the popcorn is photoshopped into every one of these shots, even Galactus's head. So it's hard for me to say how big the actual things are based on the Photoshop popcorn that they've put in here. So I can't wait to see the real world photos of people actually having these out.
Right.
Moving on, last bit of news here. Star Wars Starfighter, the Ryan Gosling starring vehicle, directed by the Deadpool Wolverine director, Sean Levy.
Levy.
Yeah. Coming out in a couple years, has reportedly cast Mia Goth as its antagonist. People may remember Mia Goth from the Maxine, that trilogy of horror films. Came out a while ago. She's been in other stuff as well. She was a star of all three of those. But the interesting part of this is Mia Goth was rumored to be cast as Lilith in the Blade movie, which has been indefinitely kind of delayed, right? It's on the schedule right now. So it sounds like she might be doing this first before they do a Blade movie with her, if she's still doing that.
Gotcha.
So that was interesting bit of news. I also didn't know that she's the antagonist chasing Ryan Gosling's character and his teenage nephew in the movie, not a real life teenage nephew, like an in movie teenage nephew.
Right.
So it sounds like, they're going to be kind of not on just one planet, because it's Starfighter, not Planet Fighter, kind of going around to different places on the run from whoever this lady is and whatever she wants. Hopefully it's nothing to do with the Force, and it can stand on its own. Yeah, I have no idea.
So you think she's some sort of Force user, or are we going to see a red lightsaber come with her or not?
Well, when I think of Mia Goth, I think of the girl from Ahsoka TV show with the red lightsaber, Baylan Skoll's apprentice.
Yes.
I kind of like imagine her in that same role, but knowing Starfighter is set after episode 9 is moving the saga forward, I don't think we're going to get a lot of Force users kind of going forward. I think they may leave it into like, hey, maybe this is a crime syndicate, or like maybe his teenage nephew saw something, stole something, and they're like on the run kind of deal.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I'm all for that. There's a lot to explore in Star Wars. It doesn't always have to be lightsabers.
Yeah.
Although those are really freaking cool.
Yeah, lightsabers are really cool. I agree with you. But yeah, there's so many planets and so many cultures. We're bound to see something kind of different. And obviously, the success of Andor lately shows that you can have those types of shows and movies that aren't just about, the chosen one, and have a good quality content.
Yeah.
Jim, that's it. We made it through the notes. Right at our hour mark here. I really appreciate you showing up. Even if your mic broke and my mic both broke today, we still made it. I apologize to everyone who heard me ramble while Jim was logging back on, but we did somehow get through it. Jim, if people want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, where can they find you at, buddy?
I am HF, like Harrison Ford, 605 on just about every social media and video game platform.
Awesome. And the same goes for me. I'm Valdan, Valdan, which does not stand for Harrison Ford, on every social media platform, Instagram, or video game systems with the same name. Again, if people want to know more about the show, do you know where they can get all these goodies at and these show notes with all these links? Where can they get that at, Jim?
Yes, as always, please visit superheroslate.com. That is the SHS-shaped popcorn bucket of movie information that you're going to find, your timelines and your show notes and everything else that you need to enjoy the show. And then...
Well, I mean, you're doing great. So obviously we're everywhere.
No, I was trying to figure out if I was going to read this next part or if that's you.
No.
I can't remember.
I don't do any of this ending part here. I usually leave it for Mike. But
Okay, perfect.
But you've got some swag.
You can,
right?
Nice. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that you are able to find your podcasts. Any podcast catcher you've got, you'll find us. But as always, if you want to be a super fan such as myself, all you have to do is share the show with a buddy, share the show with a friend, and show your support of the show.
That's right. And we'll see you guys every week, including next week.
Bye.